It's going to help everybody because, that's pretty obvious why, I guess. And congratulations on being here, because taking the first small step can be really the hardest thing. One of my mottos, you'll see on this little binder over here, is it says, the smallest deed is greater than the largest intention. So that's really kind of what I keep going by.
Alice?
Yes?
Excuse me, can you turn these lights off?
Oh, sure, they're distracting at this point, aren't they? But there's like 5 different cycles, or 10 different cycles, so I have to keep pushing until we go. There you go. Good point. One of these is going to be in the Go Kit I'm giving away. So these are intended to be at night if you're stranded in the car. It's got a little thing on there, and then you don't have to worry about flares. Okay. So, well, I guess while I'm over here, this is a Go Kit, and we'll be talking about exactly what that is. There's different names for them: bug out bag, evacuation bag. But we will be holding a drawing to see who gets to take that home with them at the end of the night. So that's what the raffle ticket on your clipboard is for. Okay, let's see. So, housekeeping first, actually. Since we're here for emergency preparedness, we all know where the exit is, right? And there's another one there. And then there are bathrooms down around the corner. This is only intended to be about 30, 45 minutes. That's typically how long it lasts, unless people ask a lot of questions in between, and I will be here definitely for question and answer afterwards. So that means there's no breaks in the middle of a half-hour presentation. I have 3 different hats that I wear in terms of career. I am a real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate here in West Seattle. That's sort of my day job at this point. But emergency preparedness has just always been something that has drawn me to it, and it's sort of a passion. And so I started this business as my second hat, and then as my third hat, I'm also an author. And on the evaluation form at the end tonight, there's a place you could check off if you want a download or a free e-download. We won't tell you anything about what it is right now. Hi, welcome. Come on in. Let's get Amanda. Where'd she go? Oh, yeah. Can you get her a clipboard? Give her a clipboard. Thanks. Okay, so let me back up. Okay, so people always want to know how I got started and why this is a passion for me. Well, like many of you, I grew up in the era of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and our basement was going to protect us from a nuclear bomb. That's where we were going to go if the bomb went off. And there was some canned food Mom put down there. And it just stuck with me, kind of, I guess, the idea of being prepared, and it must be just part of my personality as well. So when I moved to West Seattle 20 years ago, I got a big 30-gallon yard waste container and filled it with canned fruit and, all kinds of things. The canned fruit is significant because by the time I remembered to go and rotate the stock 13 years later, it had eaten through the can and molded everything in there. Everything was a total loss. The only things that survived were some stainless steel silverware and a Bunsen burner. Everything else, including the barrel, had to go. And I thought, okay, well, no big deal. I've got a list. I just go and replace it all, right? It's stupid and expensive, but not the end of the world. But when I started doing it, I realized I had forgotten it. It's not like you go to one store and you pick up all that stuff and you're done. It can be quite a journey, quite a task. And so eventually I thought, what would I have done if I had a husband and kids that I had to worry about, or whoever, somebody else, it's just me, so I had the time. But I thought, well, there may be people out there who would like to have somebody do it for them because they know they're never going to get around to it themselves. So again, that's sort of the genesis of Just In Case, and I will tell you a little bit at the end what my services are. This is not intended to be a big sales pitch. It is intended to be twofold, though, that and community service. So I'm hoping, given how well this went this time, I'm probably going to try and do these about once a month and get some awareness out there and get people moving. So let's see, what have I forgotten to tell you? Anything here? Okay. So I want you to think about 2 things: being mentally prepared as well as physically prepared. Physically prepared is sometimes easier, but you got to think about now. Okay, earthquake right now. What would you do?
Right this second. Come do this.
Stay right here.
You do stay inside, never go outside. Find something to duck under. So it's the drop, cover, and hold. You've probably seen that before. So yeah, look for something, and the main obvious reasons are somewhat obvious, but you need to protect your head and your innards, because those are the things that are going to be most vulnerable, okay? So that's the first thing but yes, do not go outside. That's a lot of people's instinct is to run outside. And the reason you don't do that is because of glass coming out of windows. There would be, sorry, forget the notifications, don't be silent. There could be up to 6 inches of broken glass out on the sidewalk. And those are some of the most common injuries after an earthquake, okay? So, let's see. So, and more mental preparation. We also tend to think, at least I do, let me see if you're the same, I think, oh, okay, it's going to be sometime like this, where it's dry and semi-warm and whatever. But if next time there's a snowstorm, what if there was an earthquake at the same time as a snowstorm, or, whatever. So, to kind of run through some of those mental preparations can be helpful as well. Plus, are you going to be alone? Are you going to be with your family? Are you likely to be at home, at the office? Where? Okay. So those are the things that mentally you want to prepare for. As far as physical preparation, the first thing you might want to do is go out and buy a earthquake kit or an emergency supply kit. I think Costco is probably out of them now. But part of what I try to do and what's important to me is to educate you about why that can create a false sense of security. It tells you you've got everything in there you need, right? Does it have prescription medication in there that you might rely on? Does it have cash and small bills, because probably the credit card things aren't going to be working? Does it have pet food in it? Does it have a pair of shoes, sturdy shoes, in case you were barefoot or not wearing something that's going to allow you to go out? So those are the kind of things, because you can go online and get tons of stuff, and there's so much information out there. Sometimes it's kind of the fire hose thing, But they'll say customized, but that means that you have to know what you want to have them put in that. And that's going to take you hours of looking online and trying to figure out a lot of times. So I'm trying to provide a lot of that information for people. Most of these handouts you see over here are available for free download on my website. I encourage people to do that, whatever it takes to help you get moving. So, let's go into my highest priority for you, actually. One of the reasons we're giving away a Go Kit is because if you do nothing else, put together a Go Kit for your trunk, the trunk of your car, because probably your car is wherever you are about 95% of the time. If you really want to do it right, put one under your bed, so that if this happens in the middle of the night, you can grab it and go. In your office and in your car. But in my opinion, the car is going to be probably the best one, assuming you can grab your car keys when you leave the house if it's in the middle of the night. Okay? So, what's in a Go Kit? This one is the one I keep in my trunk. I'm going to back up a minute. What should you put them in? These two happen to look pretty much the same, but I am a big advocate of don't go out and spend a lot of money on this. I regularly go to Value Village and Goodwill and all these things. You will get one of these, a lot of them brand new, for $10 or less. Okay, and you're going to spend 50, 70, whatever if you order it wherever, online or in the store. Okay, no need to do that. The ones I like the best, because again, we always also think when this happens, we're going to be in great physical shape. Maybe we have a deathly cold, maybe we just broke our legs, whatever. So some of these come with, I better zip it up first or I'm going to spill everything out, wheels. So if you, for whatever reason, can't lift it, it's too heavy, or you've got a broken limb or a child, because ideally you want a Go Kit for every person in the house, okay? Yeah, and then it starts. So I love these ones with wheels. That's what I look for. And again, I'm sure I never pay more than $10 for these when I get them in the store. So, and I'm always amazed at how many are available. Every time I go, I can usually pick up 5 or 6 that are appropriate for this kind of thing. So they're not hard to find that way. But anyway, so this is the one in my trunk. And that doesn't look very full, in part because it's got most of the stuff in there, everything I could give you that isn't personalized. But what takes up a lot of the room is extra clothing. Because you want to have spare clothing in here. Next time you're about to throw away that pair of jeans or that pair of running shoes or whatever, go, oh no, those would be great for my go kit. And so that takes up a lot of room. Otherwise, you probably picked up the lists over there of what goes in a go kit. But obviously water and some kind of a protein bar kind of thing are top list. Anybody happen to know how much water is recommended for you to have on hand in case of emergency? A gallon a person per day, and if you have a pet, you need to add a little more in there. Now you can definitely get by on less than that. That's to include both sanitation, cooking, and drinking. So it's not like you need to drink a gallon a day. But that's what, and that alone can be a little intimidating when you think you've got a family of 4, because how many days are they saying these days that we're likely to be without help in a major disaster? 14. They used to say 3 days, 3 ways. And when I first started learning about this, because I am just self-taught, because there's no certification courses for this kind of stuff out there. There is for the medical kind of thing, but not for anything like this. I sat down with somebody from the Office of Emergency Management from Seattle, and they went, boy, are we sorry we ever said 3 days, 3 ways. I said, we were so far off base. And they said, and it was so effective, everybody remembers it. Too bad they didn't forget it. But yeah, and then they kind of went 7 to 10 days. And then they went 10 to 14 days, you know, but it's anyway. So that's how soon it's likely to be before emergency responders can get to you. One of the handouts over here is a little placard that says okay or help. Let me tell you what that's for, that's to help first responders. If they do get around, put that in somewhere visible on your front door, your front window, whatever, so that it's helped them triage. They need to know, if yours says okay, they're not going to stop for you right away, and they are going to go on to somebody who seriously needs help. You might wonder what the Band-Aids are for in there. That's so that you don't have to stop and look for tape or something where you seriously, I found that in another workshop. I thought, oh, that's perfect. I'm definitely gonna use that. All right, what am I forgetting to tell you in order here? I usually get on a roll and then kind of skip over some things. Some commonly overlooked resources sometimes. Actually, your best resource is your neighbors. We're at a point where we better start introducing ourselves again, and you don't have to be friendly necessarily, but if we're really out there for 14 days, again, this is what the folks at Emergency Management said. They said, the only people who are going to survive are the ones who are collaborating, who are going, okay, what have you got in your freezer? Okay, I've got a propane, what am I trying to say? Not fireplace.
Barbecue.
Barbecue, thank you, yes. And if you even know those things ahead of time, it's even better. There's a program called MYN.
Map your neighborhood?
I'm sorry?
Map your own neighborhood?
Map your neighborhood. Thank you. Good grief. It's a good thing you're all here. Yes.
I knew where you were going.
I'm like, I remember the initials are MYN. But it's Map Your Neighborhood, and it's a program that is all spelled out, shows you how to get together with your neighbors. You do a little assessment, say who's got some medical skills, who's got these skills, who's got those skills, so you know that all ahead of time. If you want to take it even further, they'll go out and actually walk the neighborhoods, look and see which homes have gas that we might need to shut off. Again, where do you keep your supplies? I've brought my neighbors over and gone, okay, here's where they are, and I'm happy to share. You know, sometimes people are like, well, if I have all of this, someone's going to come and take them from me. Well, not if everybody's prepared, and that's the beauty of it. Nobody's going to need to, and then we'll just need to share. Map Your Neighborhood is another, I don't have a handout for that, but it's you can find it on my website. Did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. In West Seattle, there's an organization called West Seattle Be Prepared. Fabulous organization, and there's one of the maps. The city sets up what they call communication hubs, okay? Actually, the city doesn't set them up. They're mostly volunteers. But they are all over the city, and West Seattle is probably the best and the densest part of the city. They're not intended to be a place that you go after it happens to get help as much as communication. So you can find out what's going on out there. They'll have ham operators They'll have, you know, clipboards set up to say, okay, this vet's office has said they will be open to help people. This street is closed down. So it's really intended to be somewhere that you can go and within your neighborhood. So that's what the map tells you, where your closest ones are, so that you can get information and feel like you're not alone out there. Anybody know Cindy Barker? Lauren does, yeah. She's the main volunteer for that, and I tell you, she does all kinds of stuff in West Seattle, and she's just an amazing woman. So I just like to sing her praises because she does so much. Some other overlooked resources sometimes. Your car battery can be a source of power for you. Okay. Your hot water tank. Yeah, hopefully you have some bleach or tablets and to help make it a little more potable, right? If you have a rain barrel, again, you're going to have be able to treat the water, but that's still another source. Even your toilet tank. If it's an emergency other than something like an earthquake that there's no warning for, if there's something coming, we know, you can fill up your bathtub, okay, before it starts, and that can be a source. Like I say, there's tons of stuff online. FEMA, Red Cross, City of Seattle actually has really good stuff. So it's just a matter of kind of finding the time, I know sometimes, which is what I try to do, is try to bring all the best of that stuff together and make it so there's one place you can go and find that information. Let's see, what else am I forgetting? Another thing I would definitely recommend these days is a phone charger, preferably a solar phone charger. And they're not that expensive, $20, $30 for a good one. And there's a lot of combo things out there, flashlight, radio, charger, that again are not very expensive, and they do a lot of functions without taking up too much space. Oh, I got distracted here, didn't I? What else was in here? But most of it's on the list. What else? Let's see. Eyeglasses, if you need them. If you wear contacts, you're going to want to have some of that in there. Okay, a few fun things here. Does anybody know what this is?
Potty.
It's a potty! It is! And if you got little ones, you might want a little potty too. Now, if you want a deluxe potty, you go to the dollar store and you get a pool noodle.
Nice color.
So that it's a little more comfortable in case this isn't more than a one-time thing. These slit really easy. You just take a knife and slit right down. Okay, so those are good. If we're in a situation like we may be coming up where you need air filtration masks, this is one of the few things I say don't go to the dollar store for. Those are worthless. There's a rating on these, and N95 is the rating that is supposed to be the minimum you want to get. These come in huge boxes, mostly at Lowe's or wherever. So it's a great thing to be able to share and put a few in your office, a few in your go kits. If you have gas, if you have natural gas, you want to get a pair of pliers, okay? And again, they don't have to be anything great, but have these, put them in a plastic bag or something watertight and store them by your water meter, okay? So you don't have to go around looking for it at the time, and it's right there ready for you. Now, you don't want to turn off your gas until you have to, because turning it back on is a problem. So if you turn it off and it really wasn't a problem, there was really no leak or anything, you might regret that. What else? Water comes in all kinds of things. I even found this at a local fair, this little purified water, little packets. People kind of tend to worry about how long will water stay good. I'm sorry, if it's a real emergency, you're gonna drink it even if it's been there forever, and it's not gonna hurt you. So the experts go, yeah, don't worry so much about that. However, if you want to store it for yourself around the house rather than buying bottled water to keep, it's fine to put it in things like pop bottles, but don't put it in anything that had dairy or fruit juice or anything like that, because you won't be able to get it clean enough for, yeah. Thank you.
And
Okay.
do you suggest 2 weeks worth of medication too, or 3 days?
I would, yeah. Yeah, if you're going to be off, it obviously depends on what it is, but if it's something you're relying on or something that will have downside if you're having to go off at cold turkey, yeah, I would. Keys. This is a contractor's key box. The old kind with just a little, dial, rotary dial here. Really good to have a spare car key and a spare house key outside of your house somewhere, so that you can get in if you need, because you don't want to be obviously found out there alone. Any else? Most of my good. Oh no, here's one of my pet peeves. Imagine you are an emergency responder, your first responder, and you can't find the frickin' address. When you go down the street, if you take a look, you will be surprised at how many buildings you cannot see numbers on. And you don't want to be the one that they can't find because you don't have house numbers visible. So make sure somewhere out your house, and make whether they need to be contrasting and preferably under light at night. Okay. What else have we got here for you? Alternative power supplies. If you don't have natural gas, and you probably have electricity only, if it's the dead of winter, you're going to want some kind of an alternative source of heat. Old-fashioned fireplaces, they'll be a little bit, they're not efficient, but in a pinch, of course, they will do. But there are some heaters that are intended for indoors. You have to be careful because of the carbon monoxide potential. You don't want to use a barbecue inside. You don't want to use. However, there are some propane heaters that are intended for indoor use. So that's one option. Or maybe you're just outside, but if it's a good time of year. You need to know where your utility shutoffs are in your house. Where does the water get shut off? Because it's best to do that at your house rather than out on the street. I can't remember now why. John, do you remember? John's a home inspector that I work with a lot. He's taught me so much.
Well, it's just easier in the house because of the handle.
Well, there was some other reason though, because I was just somewhere but so anyway, the preference for the utility people is that you shut it off in the house. If you know where your electrical box is, where your electrical panel is, so if you have out on the street near you, if the storm drain is near your house, kind of take it upon yourself to be the person who checks to make sure that isn't clogged all the time, because that can really, really hurt you bad. Secure all items against the walls. It's really pretty easy to get wall fasteners just at the hardware store, and because anything that falls over obviously is going to be a danger to you. People usually have questions nowadays about landlines and cell phones, because how many people actually have a landline anymore? A few of you, okay. And landlines are best because they're not going to get interrupted. However, I don't know if there's anybody on the other end to answer, but cell phones, there seems to be some controversy about how well cell phones will or will not work. The kind of common wisdom right now is that texting will be the most reliable. So that's the first thing you should try. You want to have a contact set up somewhere out of state, where if you're separated from your loved ones, everybody knows, okay, I called Joan in Colorado, if something happens, and she'll be our central funnel for communication to know if we're all okay. There's a couple of websites too. I think it's the Red Cross, if I'm remembering correctly, that has one where you can essentially report in if we have internet service. Okay, but you certainly want to be able to charge that cell phone. Storage areas for supplies, that's a question I get a lot too. There's different levels of disasters, of course. The bug out bag is for if the earthquake happens, and until you're able to determine is your house safe to stay in. And we already talked about not running outside if you don't have to, but if you think your house is not going to be safe, then you want to grab that and go. So that under your bed is a good place for that. Keep in mind, when you're in bed, you don't have any shoes on. So one of the habits you'd like to get in is having a pair of walking shoes right next to your bed. Okay. They also recommend a helmet of some kind if you want, either a hard hat or a bike helmet or something, because again, protecting your head is going to be very important. Another thing you can find at the at the Valley Village kind of stores. I was amazed. I'm always surprised at the things I can find there when I just put them on a list after a while. Let's see. If you live in a 2-story home, you want to think about being able to get out of the upper story, so you may want to have an escape ladder somewhere nearby. If your home is older and you're not sure if it's retrofitted or not, the City of Seattle puts on a free workshop that will help you. It'll show you how you kind of ascertain that, and they have plans for how to retrofit it yourself if you want. Now, I've been to this workshop twice. I still don't think I could retrofit it myself, but they're all there using all this language, building language, and I'm like, a pony wall? What's a pony wall? Stuff like that. But it's still better than knowing nothing. So I would recommend it. They also have a workshop called Stop the Bleed, which is all about applying pressure and tourniquets if you come across a situation where someone's bleeding out, because that is the most common fatality after in big accident scenarios. So knowing how to apply a tourniquet and how to stop with drug pressure is really great. It's like a half-hour to an hour workshop, and they run it really regularly. If you look at the events list on my website, that'll usually tell you where the next couple of them are coming. They also have some basic first aid courses, a lot of really good stuff. Let's see, am I forgetting anything? How are we doing on time, too? I want to be. We're in pretty darn good shape there. Questions that maybe I haven't thought to mention. Okay.
Can we see what's in your kit?
Pardon me?
Can we see what's in your kit?
Yes, you sure can. All right, let's get one of that cool in here. Yeah, so in here, I've got a pair of jeans, I've got a hoodie. You wouldn't believe how old this hoodie is. I've got underwear. If you're out more than a couple of days, you're going to want to replace that. I've got a warm hat. I've got a bandana, a red bandana, because then you can use that for a distress signal as well. Okay. I've got another t-shirt. You want to think, you don't know what season it's going to be. So part of the challenge is find things that you can either layer or some things that are going to be hefty enough in the cold weather. Spare gloves. Again, a lot of times if I'm thinking, I'm going to get rid of this or it's worn out or whatever, usually it's got enough wear left to go into your go kits. Especially for the kids. Now, the challenge with little kids is they're growing every 6 months or a year, and keeping a kit for them can be challenging. Shoes, first aid kit, foot warmers. I think those somebody gave them to me. I thought, that's a good place for them. I'm not likely to use them otherwise anyway. And this is a combination of rain poncho and rain pants. Then in the, I don't have a water bottle in there. How could that be? Oh well, this is my trunk one though, and I've always got bottled water in there. That's probably what I was thinking. This is another one of the little beacons, and directions on how to use the beacon. Because at first it's not obvious. I've got protein bars here. Now again, remember that these kits are really only intended to get you by for 1 to 3 days until you can get somewhere safe. A dog leash, a rain poncho, and this kind of stuff. Rain ponchos and Mylar space blankets. Get those. Again, the Mylars sometimes are available at the dollar store. Rain ponchos almost always are. Sanitary wipes. Here's the Mylar blanket. I mean, if you think about it, those two things alone in a go kit, if you're out for a couple of days, are going to be worth their weight in gold. Quarters. And somewhere in here I must have, let's see, we'll keep going here. Tourniquet. That's what I learned to use at the, and spare medication. Yeah, you can just put them in a pill box if you want. What's this? Spare keys. Alright. We're almost to the end here. Oh, well, in the rain, you all got a whistle, right? Okay, keep those on you. Signaling for help with a whistle is going to be probably the single best thing you can do, almost. And this is simply a list of everything that's in here so that if I need to know quickly or replace it. Okay. So the one I keep under my bed is even a little bigger, but it definitely has wheels on it because I'm an overpacker, just like if I was going on vacation, I put more stuff in here than's needed, Russ.
So my question would be, I understand you have two different ones, one under your bed and one in the car, but they don't have the same things in.
Yeah, they actually do. The
Because
same items.
Where do you keep your money, the pills, the medication?
Solar charges?
Because I would feel nervous about leaving it in the car, a bag with cash and.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it is a chance. It's definitely, you certainly don't want it out in the open where they can see it. But yeah, it's, that's
So
just, you gotta weigh that risk against, would you rather be prepared or have risk somebody, breaking in? But that's very true.
Would by the door be the same thing if you keep it by the front door inside the house?
Yes, closets are generally a good place. There's no perfect place, but it's the smaller the room, so the closets and bathrooms, I'm told, tend to be, they're going to see less destruction because the framing is so much closer together, I guess. John, am I accurate on that?
Yeah, what you said.
Yeah. So, and then this is the level of emergency, like I say, if we're just thinking a day or two until we found somewhere else to go. But then I have two 30-gallon barrels now, and I've kind of changed around where I keep them because you don't know whether a tree's going to fall on it or whether it's better to have it in your basement and then you won't be able to access it or what. But those I think of as more for, okay, I was scared, but the house is standing, and now I'm going to need to have that 10 to 14 days. Okay. So you want it somewhere accessible. You don't want to go, okay, let's put it in the back of that closet where we can't ever get to it, because A, you won't rotate the stock in there then, and B, you don't want to have to try and remember where it is and battle to get to it if an emergency actually does happen. So, yes, those are good questions. What else? I think that's pretty much the end of my generalized community one. I do want to tell you about what I do with Just In Case. The primary service that I offer is called a readiness assessment. So I come into your home for about an hour and interview you very thoroughly as to what things do you have already on hand, what things do you not, what do you know, for instance, some of the things I was talking about, where's your water shutoffs and all that, and what do you need to learn. And I do a walkthrough at that time as well. We go to each room and say, okay, if an earthquake happens right now, how is this room? Is this one that's got all windows? Is there something I can, duck under? Because just thinking of those things ahead of time is good. One of the things, if you've got young kids, parents' first reaction, not unlike running outside, is to run to the kids. You can hurt yourself worse trying to get to them. Instead, they need to be trained that if that happens, they stay put until you come get them. Because you don't want to move until the shaking stops, okay? And that's going to be the hardest thing possible, is to go against your instinct to go and grab your kids. But it's not a good idea. Okay, so I'm back for what I was doing. So I do this readiness assessment. Like I say, it takes about an hour, and then I go in, I put together an action plan for you. Okay, it'll have a list of, here are the things that I recommend you consider buying in order to supplement what you have on hand. And then I take the other tasks, whether it's putting those kits together or getting a map or that, and I split them up into 8 weeks so that there's never more than like 1 to 2 hours worth of things that you need to do a week. And say, okay, let's pull out the calendar and actually schedule that time right now. Okay, and you'll get that within, I usually do those on Sundays, so that every Sunday you'll get an update on that. And you'll get an email saying, here's the list you were working on last week, how'd you do? Here's the list for this week. And any comments in between there, you're welcome to telephone me. I'm happy to do that kind of thing as well. So that's 8 weeks of coaching to get you through to the end. And my experience is that most people at least get through about 90% of the list, 100% is pretty tough. So that's the readiness assessment, and that is priced at $395. And then the other bonuses that come with that, I do give you one go kit along with that. and also a binder of resources. There's an example of it back there so it's got a bunch of lists in there. It's got places that you can write down your family communication plan, those kinds of things, and you have that handy. That's a good place by the front door to have it, or wherever your other supplies are, so that you can grab it. Okay. And if you, a la carte services, I'm not intended to be, I don't sell anything retail. So I don't sell the Go Kits, I don't sell the binders, I don't sell emergency supplies. You can get those online. There is, if you want easy on my website, there is an Amazon Associates page where you can order right from there. And I will tell you that the funds that come from that, although there haven't been any yet, are intended essentially to be used for people who can't afford the services otherwise. So that's where that will go. It's a very small amount, I've got to say. They don't give you much anyway. But I have it there partly for your convenience and partly to have a fund like that. So yes, but you can hire me to order the supplies for you if you want. You just pay for them directly rather than going through me. You can hire me to actually assemble the kit for you, or to do stock rotation. If you want me to do all of that, it's a $6.95 rather than $3.95 for the readiness assessment, and the a la cartes are like $95 for ordering the supplies and $165 for doing the kit assembly. Okay. So this part of the challenge is there's no one else out there doing this in this manner that I am. I have found one other person actually who's doing similar, but fortunately she is all towards businesses. She only really wants to deal with business, and I really only want to deal with residential. So that's a nice thing. We're working together on that. Amanda's reminding me here that if you want to get extra tickets into the raffle, because you've each got one automatically from being here, we'll wait a few minutes to do that. If you want to go online and like us or send a...
So you can post a selfie on social media of you attending the workshop. You can like our just in case pages on social media. You can like Alice Cooter at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services on social media. There's a survey that all of you should have, the very last page in your notebook. That is just for our information, a marketing survey, so we can learn how to really spread the word and what's working and what's not as far as these workshops go. And then there's an option to opt into our email newsletters that we do. There's one for Berkshire Hathaway and one for Just In Case. You can choose one or both. All of those give you one more ticket, 2 tickets if you sign up for both. And then you can request a free cost market analysis of your home, which Alice will provide for you. And then if you want 2 extra tickets, you could schedule a readiness assessment today. So I'll just leave this right up here.
Any questions that may have come up since? If you want to go and put a picture, a selfie of yourself, I thought this would be kind of fun. For a background.
That is cute.
But you're not required to. All right. So thank you very much. I hope you will spread the word. There's one of the things over here too. There are some postcards that I've been mailing out, and you could take a look at those if you know of anybody you think might be interested, and you could either mail them to them or pass them along to them. That would be great. Yeah. Yes, we do have an evaluation. Oh, you're looking at the evaluation one? Or?
Yeah, the feedback form's a little different from the marketing survey.
Yes.
It just helps us assess
For today.
what we need to,
Okay.
if there are opportunities for improvement on the presentation, any information that was unclear to you or that you feel that we should have provided, just for us to...
Yeah, there's a couple of questions I wish I had put on there that I didn't. Just in terms of the title, I mean, what appeals to people more, workshop, seminar, or class? How about workshop? Okay, workshop's it, I guess.
Workshop feels
Pardon?
less committal. Like a seminar feels like a 3-day thing.
Ah, okay.
To me.
Yeah, see, that's why I was asking. It's like everybody's different perceptions of different words like that. And the cost factor, I'm actually happy to do these for free for the community. The main reason I put in some places that it was $8 per group was because people put more value on it if there's a price, and if it's free and they get that day, go, I don't have to show up, it's not going to cost me anything. But, so if I continue to do that, use that strategy, should it be $5, $8, $10? Is 5 enough to be incentive?
8 is good.
No, 8 was good?
Yep.
Thank you. That kind of information is just really helpful. I'm thrilled that we got so many people here with what we did, so now I need to do it a second time and find out if it was a fluke or not.
How do we know?
You don't. You don't know. It's free for everyone.
Don't tell anybody.
That's right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Don't tell the others. But pretty much if you smile at me, you get in free. Thank you so much, and we'll hang around if there's other questions.
Tear them in half, right?
Yes, you could tear the ticket. Oh, you gave them both of them? Okay, yes.
Did we get another one?
So.
Yeah, because they hold one and then they put the other one in the basket.
Mhm.
6, 7, yeah, these are the same number.
Yeah. Okay, so yes. enter
Well, I better make
one
sure that we're all
there.
getting,
I
okay,
get
so we
another
just call the number and,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So I get another one.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, I
That's
will.
the
All right, let
idea.
me grab those.
Yeah, if any of you filled out that marketing survey, or if you just went online or anything, you get another ticket before we.
Did you have,
Before we do
okay,
that.
so you, or we got you yours.
And while she's doing that, I'll show you what's
sorry,
in
yeah.
the bag.
And then I will do that.
So, this one, that's most of the same stuff, but obviously I didn't put cash, I gotta admit. No cash, no medication.
Here's your survey.
But there is the beacon, there is a flashlight. Yes,
Yeah, toilet paper.
toilet paper's in here. I'm big on that. I really, that and sanitary wipes. So yes, there's sanitary wipes, there's a poncho. I like toothbrush kits too, even if it's only a couple days without brushing your teeth. Yeah. It's a Mylar blanket, there's a Slim Jim. There is a water bottle in here with some candies in here. This is, oh, you know what I've forgotten is to talk about my co-hosts. The building here was generously, the space was generously donated, which is one reason that I can do this for free for you. Ross, do you want to say anything about this, the co-working space for people who might not understand or know what about it?
Sure, just from here from, we're a shared office space, so we're a resource for all people who work from home. If they get distracted or they're just not productive, they come here. And usually they get done here more in a couple of hours than they would at home or they would at a coffee shop, because we're set up to help people work. So if you know anybody who works from home and they need to get more productive, then please let them know that we exist.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'll give her a couple more minutes to get the tickets all in here. So I got, oh, can you get a just in case shirt? We'll see. We'll see who gets it. I've got a couple of different sizes. So. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody have trouble finding parking? Was there enough? Okay, it wasn't too bad. All right. Good. Assuming this video comes out well, it will go on YouTube. Yeah, so if any of you are like trying to hide your identity, we'll have to blur you out, I guess. Sorry?
Protected witness.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Witness protection program. Amanda, are you handing out the evaluations, or should I do that? Got you doing more than one thing at a time.
I did.
Shoot there.
Okay, great. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't even tell you. The note cards were just in case you wanted to take notes during the course of it. Did you guys all? Thank you.
We send it to you or?
No, I stole it.
And here's your part. Next, so you get the next one.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a marketing survey they want to turn in?
I think almost everyone turned in a survey.
You will get one email from me after this. I do not abuse that privilege, but there will be one with a link in case you are still willing to fill out a survey. And then if you haven't opted into the email, I don't spam you.